tell me a little bit about that.
What's interesting is that to solve some of these global environmental problems, the answer is not one big action that's going to happen somewhere, but on the smaller level of people doing simple things, such as putting a high-efficiency shower head into their house. There are now shower heads that use half the water and half the energy of a normal one. It works just as well. These will save a lot of money for the home, about $30 to $50 per person, so it's a wise economic move, but also has a lot of really good implications for the environment. If you save energy, that means that there is less coal burn somewhere, which means there's less air pollutants that sent into the atmosphere, less acid rain in the Northwest, less global warming, all for a simple move that can save you money and still work just as well. By using these technologies, you can also help the rivers in the area, less water is diverted from them, and the water can be sent back better because the wastewater treatment plants are able to work better. Many good benefit from one simple move is what we're finding.
Yeah, so by using that shower head in their house, they can actually, in fact you said something interesting to me a little bit, which was they can reduce the amount of CO2 emissions. They can also therefore reduce the amount of acid rain by doing something in their own house.
Exactly. You're going to cut CO2 emissions by about a ton a year, which is small, but many times over can be very significant. Also, acid rain will be reduced because there's less chemicals like sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxides that right now are killing the forests in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and the Northeast. What's important about these technologies too is this is not the sweater-wearing conservation of the 70s. These are not wimpy showers that give you the same quality of service while saving energy, water, and therefore helping the environment.
Great. And let me just ask you one other closing question. You just got back from 2 trips. One was to Thailand and one is to Holland, and I found your thoughts on your trip to Holland interesting in that as many of us know, Holland has a serious issue with global warming. Could you give me maybe a 60-second...
Well, in Holland, they spend 8% of their global gross national product. They spend a lot of money trying to keep the ocean out of the country. They're just at sea level. So one thing that could happen with global warming is that icebergs melt in the north, the ocean rise. If it rose a couple meters, that would mean billions of dollars of spending for Holland. They have feedback. They know they have to change their habits. We don't have that feedback, unfortunately. So they are committed to not sending as much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and they are committed to try to convince us to do the same.
You think the political and economic issues being addressed in Holland are fast approaching or slowly approaching our daily life in the United States?
Unfortunately, they don't have the power to control what we're doing here. So
let me reframe that. The issues that they're dealing with as far as destruction of livable habitat through our current lifestyles, and the...
Well, okay, I think I should do what you're saying. Holland is facing the environmental problems of tomorrow today. We will be approaching the same problems in the future with decreased air quality, water quality, and the costs of electricity production, as well as reconciling in international discussions about whether we can be sending so much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. They're facing these problems today. We'll be facing them soon.
Great. Hey, thank you for your time.
Okay.
See you.
If you want to do it again, one thing
We're up here today at the Rocky Mountain Institute. Joe Rome is an author. Can you show us your book, Joe?
Sure, be delighted to.
Tell me a little bit about it.
It's the Once and Future Superpower, How to Restore America's Economic, Energy, and Environmental Security. Basically tries to show how the United States can move from its military security paradigm that it's had since World War II to one based on economic, energy, and environmental security. Tries to smash the myth that jobs and the environment conflict. Talks about how we can reduce our energy bills and save businesses and consumers $200 billion a year and create jobs in the energy industry doing so and reduce global warming at the same time. Other things deal with cutting the defense budget in half and where the high-wage jobs are likely to be in the next 20 or 30 years.
And the result of this book, which seems to me possibly a watershed for the change that we're all seeing now with the new president, new party in power, the changes we all voted for. What were the repercussions that you've had from the book? Has anything resulted from it? Any particular meetings, any government support or attacks?
Well, have had some good feedback. Have gotten some very good write-ups in some of the environmental magazines. The Whole Earth Review wrote a nice write-up, and some newspapers and magazines. The issue is starting to catch on, I think, with the new administration, Clinton and Gore. We heard some feedback from some of the people in the administration, some of the people on Capitol Hill, that they're interested in these ideas. And Amory Lovins and I wrote a piece for Foreign Affairs, the winter issue, which kind of synthesized some of these ideas. And we got a very big response from Capitol Hill, congressmen, got a big response from staffers, from the media. I think this idea is about to take off, that we can have both economic growth and jobs and a clean environment at the same time.
Oh, really? So you feel confident about it? More confident now about that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we just did a report for the Environmental Protection Agency and Small Business Administration in which we show that a lot of businesses have been reducing their pollution and increasing their profits and productivity at the same time. So it's a very cost-effective thing that the the smartest, most innovative businesses are doing. And if every business in the country were as cost-effective and prevented as much pollution as the cutting-edge ones, American business as a whole would be more competitive, but we would cut our pollution significantly, maybe in half.
Maybe in half? Well, what would the time frame be on that?
Well, I think it would probably take, we're probably talking about the next 10 to 20 years. Some of it's going to depend on how quickly the federal and state governments change utility regulations to encourage energy efficiency. But most of all, it's going to depend on how quickly American companies catch on to the environmental revolution. The way it's taken 20 years for American companies to figure out that if they deliver a quality product and give customer service, that it makes business sense. If it took 20 years for American businesses to figure that out, how long is it going to take them to figure out that if they cut resource use and cut pollution, they'll save themselves legal hassle, they'll save themselves disposal costs, and they'll reduce their operating costs at the same time they'll make profits. But the best businesses are doing it, and it's starting to catch on, and I think with the new administration, you're going to find a lot more businesses moving in this direction.
Great. Well, Joe, keep up the good work. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Jump cut.
Yeah, that's okay. That sound as well. I wanted to...
I was sort of wondering there with that.
No,
perhaps.
actually, that really got good, really concise. But now with my end, I wanted to ask you, I had asked you a little earlier that I had commented that most people live in communities. And your comment to me was no. And I was just wondering if you could give me your thoughts on that for a second.
I think what you said was that everyone lives in a community. And what I said was no, not everybody lives in a community. I think many people are searching for community. I think when you think about, community isn't just a collection of buildings and streets. It is in effect an extended family. It is a bunch of people who feel like they're in the same boat together. Sometimes that's a town, sometimes it's a neighborhood, but there are many places in cities and there are many towns in rural areas where there isn't really a strong sense of community, a sense of that we've got to work together for our common good. It's kind of the barn raising mentality. That's sort of the essence of what a community is about. And I think many of us are searching for community. We I think might say we're desperate for it. When you risk your life to go to the supermarket to get a bottle of milk, that's about not having community. When you don't feel as if the people across the street really care about you and they don't really think that you care about them, that's a lack of community. So much of what we do with community economic development is in effect broaden the definition of economic development to community building, to the kinds of things that people can do to stick together to build their local economy. And so much of what can be done to build a local economy requires a cooperative effort that having a sense of community becomes a very powerful driver for economic success.
Wow. Well, I couldn't have said that better myself. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Is that it?
Wait a minute. I want to say that one more time. Well, thanks a lot, Michael. See you later.
Yours would be on the 14th when our last
Or you need 2 days?
of which half of the 15th would be half.
Before you do that,
Yeah, we'll find out.
on the stock thing, that memo from Steve Foster wasn't a lot. So I thought that we do by early next week is
Good. Does Foster know anything about